Okay, so I wanted to take this opportunity to do a few extra problems for the line model, area model, and set model for fractions. There are problems on your review, you've done problems on your homework, but I just wanted to make sure that you've had plenty of examples and plenty of practice before you take your exam next week. So I have uploaded this paper to week 9, and it's just called fraction model practice. And so we're going to do some line model problems, area model problems, and set model problems. Okay, so if you look at the first one, it says if the blue Cuisenaire rod is the unit or the whole, which Cuisenaire rod represents 2/3? So for the first problem, my blue Cuisenaire rod's the whole. Okay, so on my paper, I would draw my blue Cuisenaire rod and I would shade it in. So let me shade it in here. So this is my blue one, and this represents my hole. So I'm trying to show which Cuisenaire rod represents 2/3. To be able to do that, I need to figure out which rod splits this into 3 pieces. So let me guess that it's the light green. Let's see. So yes, the light green splits it into 3 pieces. So let me draw this on my paper. So 3 pieces, and these are the light green Cuisenaire rods. And you could write light green on there if you needed to. So this right here shows a hole still, right? Because this is 1/3. This is, let's see if I can get that to right. And this is 1/3. And this is 1/3. And 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 is 3/3, which is still a hole. I'm looking for 2/3. I'm looking for which rod is 2 greens here. And let's see. The dark green is 2 greens. So the dark green is 2/3. So when I draw that on my picture, I'm going to show the dark green is equal to 2/3 here. I'm going to shade it in to show that it's the dark green Cuisenaire rod, and write that it's equal to 2/3. So my answer is the dark green rod is 2/3. Okay. For number 2, it says if the dark green is 2/3, then what is 5/9? Okay, so starting off with the dark green Cuisenaire rod, and I was told that this dark green Cuisenaire rod equals 2/3. Okay, so if that equals 2/3 and I need to find 5/9, I need to find the whole first. So if this is 2/3, I'm given 2 parts, 3 make a whole. So if I'm given 2 parts and 3 make a whole, I need to split this into 2 parts. I just did that, so I know it's the light green is how we split it into 2 parts. Okay, so this is the light green. Sorry, 2 parts right there. So this is my light green Cuisenaire rod. The 2 parts, this part right here is 1/3. This part right here is 1/3 because 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. Okay, so this still is 2/3. Now let me draw a hole. Well, a hole would be 3 light green Cuisenaire rods. So 1, 2, 3, because 3 pieces make a hole. So this is still 1/3. This is still 1/3. This is still 1/3, but now I have 3/3, which is my hole. And my picture down here with my actual Cuisenaire rods. Here's my hole. Well, which shape is the hole here, or which Cuisenaire rod is the hole? The blue is the hole. And let me shade that in. So this is my hole, the blue Cuisenaire rod. Well, the problem asked for 5/9. So now I'm trying to figure out which Cuisenaire rod can I split into 9 pieces make a whole that is equal to 5 pieces. So let's see. I'm going to guess it's the white ones that 9 make a whole. Let's see. So there. So there, I've split it into ninths now. So I'm going to add that to my picture. So same length, here's my hole, but now I'm splitting into ninths. So, and these are the white ones, so I don't need to color these in. So these are ninths, like 9 ninths. It's still one hole. Which rod is equal to 5 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I guess yellow. Yeah, so the yellow rod is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ninths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the yellow rod is equal to 5 ninths. So my answer for this problem is yellow. And my work is all this, because that's what I have on my paper here. Or like, not what I have, that's what I have when I use it building the Cuisinart rods. You have to show that. You could use words to describe this. I think it just depends on if you're a visual person or more of like an auditory person. If you're visual, you might want to do the picture. If you're more auditory, you might want to use words for it. Either one's fine. Just as long as you explain how you got to your hole, then how you split your hole into 9 pieces, and then how you got to the yellow from the 9 pieces. Okay. And then the last one for the line model, given a length is 1, draw 1 2/3. Okay, so for number 3, I'm given this line, and I'm told this line is equal to 1. Okay, so I would start at 0, I would end at 1, and I want to draw 1 2/3. So to do that, and to draw it accurately, I need to split this into thirds first. So I'm going to split it into 3 pieces. So here's 1/3, here's 2/3, and then that would be 3/3, which is a whole. So now to draw 1 2/3, I'm going to draw the same thing. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, which is a whole. That's one more would be 4/3, or 1 1/3. Another one would be 5/3, or 1 2/3. So this is my answer. And notice that I used my pieces to add on to it, and they're not perfect, but they're about the same length. Okay. So let's move on to the area model. For the area model, we're going to use pattern blocks, and then also these little squares or little rectangles here. So if the double yellow hexagon is the unit, what is 1/4 of the unit? Okay, so double yellow hexagon, so 2 yellow hexagons here. That's my unit. That's my whole. Okay, so let me draw that on my paper as best as I can. So this is my whole. If I want to find 1/4, that means I want to find 1 part, 4 parts make a whole. So my thought process here is I need to split my whole into 4 parts. So split into 4 parts. So what shape splits my whole into 4 parts? It is the red trapezoid, because 4 of the red trapezoids cover my entire whole. Okay, so 1/4, if you were going to draw 1/4, you would redraw your whole, split it into 4 parts, and shade in one of them. So I'm going to shade in one of them. I'm going to use red to show that it's the red trapezoid. So that's 1/4. And the answer is the red trapezoid. Okay, for number 5, it says the blue parallelogram is 2/3 of the unit. Let me turn this over. The blue parallelogram is 2/3 of the unit. what is 5/6 of the unit. So let me draw my parallelogram. This is 2/3. So that fraction means I was given 2 parts. 3 parts make a whole. So I need to split this shape that I was given, this parallelogram, into 2 parts. So I can do that, figure out which shape I can put 2 and cover the entire area. It would be the green triangle. Okay, so a green triangle, if you wanted to shade it in, you could, represents 1/3 and another third. Okay, so 1/3 and another third. So now if I want to find the whole, I'm looking for 5/6 of the unit. To be able to find 5/6, I first need to find the whole. There's a couple ways you can do it, but this to me is the most logical way to do it. So now let me draw my whole. Well, if if I was given 2 parts, 3 make a whole, I need to have 3 green triangles. So the whole is 3 green triangles, which in this case is that's 3 green triangles. That's 1/3. That's 1/3. That's 1/3. And if you'll notice, those 3 green triangles make a shape of a trapezoid. So the whole is actually a red trapezoid. Let me color that in red. So now I'm looking for what is 5/6 of this. If this is the whole, what is 5/6? Well, you would need to figure out what shape splits that into 6 pieces, and it is the purple triangle split it into 6 pieces, because when you put them on here, it takes 6 to cover that area. Here's my least favorite ones because they're so little and hard to work with. Kids love them though. Okay, so 6 purple triangles cover the whole. So you could draw that. This is a terrible to scale drawing but that was the 6 purple triangles. I'll shade those in purple. So that is a total of 6/6. If I want to show 5/6, I need 5 purple triangles. Right? So this would be 5/6, the 5 purple triangles. You could draw that. There's not a specific shape that makes that. You could draw that, or you could just write 5 purple triangles as your answer. Okay, so I really wanted to spend some time on number 6 and number 7. So this is an area model on a piece of paper, and it is not using the pattern blocks. It's using just this rectangle. So when you're showing the 1 2/3 and showing 2, all you can draw is this shape rectangle. You can't make this rectangle longer. You can't make it shorter. You draw this over and over, like you can draw 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, however you need, however many you need to draw, but you don't change the size of it. Okay, so for number 6, I was given that rectangle equals 1. And I want to show 1 2/3. So if I want to show 1 2/3, I'm going to have one of those, and then I'm going to have another one of those that has 2/3 of it shaded in. Okay, so this would be 1. And then draw that same exact rectangle, this time, split it into 3 pieces, and shade in 2 of them. So I'm going to shade my whole one over here that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to shade in my 2 pieces. So that's like 1/3, and that's 1/3, and if I add this all together, I get 1 2/3. So this is your answer. You have to draw the whole rectangle and show only 2/3 shaded in. And you have to shade your answer on these. If you look at number 7, you were given that this rectangle represents 2/3. So if you think about it, 2/3 means I was given 2 parts and 3 parts make a whole. So in this situation, I was given 2 parts. I'm going to split it in half. The name of each part, this is 1/3 and this is 1/3. The reason why it's not 1/2 is because this thing isn't a whole. When I split it into 2 parts, 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. So now, if I want to show two wholes, I have to think about it. If 3 parts make a whole, and I want to show 2 wholes, that means I need to show 6 parts. So there's my triangle once. That's 2 parts when I shade it in, right? 1/3 and 1/3. Here's my, I said triangle, I meant rectangle, I'm sorry. Here's my rectangle again. Shade in the 2 parts. This one's 1/3 and 1/3. And then draw the rectangle one last time. If I need 6 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to shade in both of the parts. And this is 1/3 and 1/3. And let's check and make sure our math's right. Is 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 gives me 6/3, which is a total of 2. So that right there is 2 wholes. Even though I use 3 rectangles for it, it's 2 wholes because 1 rectangle is worth 2/3. So I hope that helps clear up some of those problems on the review, or helps out with some of the problems on the review for the area model with the rectangles. Just make sure that every time you draw a rectangle, you draw it exactly the same size. Don't try to draw like 2/3 of a rectangle. Like draw the whole rectangle and shade in the part that you want for it. Okay, so now moving on to the set model. We've done a few problems like this, but let's just do a few more just to make sure that you understand it. So for number 8, you're given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're given 10 dots. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dots. And you're told this is 5/6. So I was given 5 parts. 6 parts make a whole. So I need to split that into 5 parts. There's going to be 2 dots in each part. So there's my 5 parts. If I wanted to label this, this is 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, all the way down. Because when I add 1/6 5 times, I get 5/6. The question asks for the unit, the whole. Well, I need 6 parts to make a whole. So the unit would be 6 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 dots are in each part. So that is my whole. And if you wanted to justify it with the fractions, 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 is 6/6, which is 1 whole. So this is your answer. For number 9, if the dots below are 2/3 of the unit, then what is 5/9 of the unit? So there are 2, 4, 8, 10, 12 dots there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 2/3. I was given 2 parts. 3 make a whole. So I need to split this into 2 parts. Well, when I split it into 2 parts, there's going to be 6 dots in each part. So now to be able to draw 5/9, some people can get it from that. For me, I need to draw the whole and then split it into 9 parts and use 5 parts as my answer. So from here, let me draw the whole. This is 2/3. 3 parts make a whole. So that means 1, 2, 3 make a hole, and there's 6 dots in each part. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 1 hole. And then from there, if I want to find 5/9, I need to split my hole into 9 parts. So let me do that with a different color. Let me do that with green. So if I'm going to split it into 9 parts, there's going to be 2 in each group. So this is 1/9, 1/9, 1/9, all the way across. Okay, and my answer is, it asked what is 5/9? Well, 5/9 would be 5 of my circles of ninths. There are 2 dots in each circle. So this is 5/9 because 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 plus 1/9 equals 5/9. And that's my answer. Okay, and then for number 10, if the dots below are 2/3 of the unit, then what is 5/6 of the unit? So similar to this last problem, it's just I'm finding 5/6. So same idea. Draw my original dots for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 2/3. I was given 2 parts, 3 make a hole. It's the same thing right here. Let me split it in 2 parts. So technically this is 1/3. This is 1/3. Because 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 2/3. 3 parts make a hole, so let me draw my hole. My hole would be 3 of my purple circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each of the groups. So this is my hole. Now I need to show 5/6. So I need to split into 6. Split into 6 groups. So I'm going to do that with green again. In this case, if I want to split 18 dots into 6 groups, there's going to be 3 in each group. So this is 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. And the question asked for 5/6. So 5/6 would be 5 of my green circles. 1, 3, 4, 5. 3 dots in each circle. And you can justify this with your fractions. 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 equals 5/6. And this is your answer. Okay. The last thing on this is number 11, showing equivalent fractions using all 3 models. So if I want to show 1/2 and 4/8 are equivalent fractions using all 3 models, I could show that with my line model. I would use Cuisenaire rods. So for Cuisenaire rods, which is the line model, I want to show 1/2 equals 4/8. So I need to find a rod I can split into halves and I can split into eighths. And I believe it's the brown. Let me double check that. I know I can split it into halves. Let me make sure this is 8 total. Yes. So if you'll look here, the brown is 8 whites, and then is it yellow? Nope, it's 5. Light green? Nope, too small. What's in between those? Purple. There we go. So you could use your Cuisenaire rods to show that 1/2 is equal to 4/8, because if this is my hole, you would draw this on your paper. This is the hole. The white I have 4 parts, 8 parts make a whole, and the purple is 2 parts make a whole. So this purple is equal to 1/2, the whites are equal to 4/8, and the purple and white is the same length. If I want to do the same problem, but this time with the pattern blocks to show the area model, okay, I need to show 1/2 and 4/8 are equivalent. Okay, let me go ahead and write that's equal to 1, that's equal to 4/8, and that's equal to 1/2. So you need to think, how can I split you can't really show this very well with pattern blocks. I should have thought that through. Sorry. Maybe instead for the pattern blocks, let's show that 1/2 is equal to 3/6. Yeah. So 1/2 is equal to 3/6. If I wanted to show equivalent fractions with pattern blocks, I need to think through, how can I split up my whole into halves into 6? Well, if I start off with my whole as the hexagon, I can split it up into halves with the red trapezoid. So technically you need to show this is your whole. So then 1 red trapezoid would equal 1/2. And then if I want to show 3/6, then I need to show some shape that 6 make a whole and that 3 is covering the same amount of area, which in this case would be the green one. So this would be showing 3/6. So showing the same amount of area is covered. In this case, I'm using 1 piece. In this case, I'm using 3 pieces. The reason why I couldn't do 4/8 is because with this whole, there's no way to show I don't have a shape that cuts it into 4 pieces. Okay. So there will probably be a problem similar to this on your test. I'll make sure it's one that you can use with all the different models. And then your set model. So for your set model, we are going to think about, we'll do 1/2 and 4/8 again. So I need to have some type of set that I can split into halves and I can split into 8ths. So you could do however many dots you needed to that divide by 2 or divide by 8. So we could do 8 dots. We could do 16 dots. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do 8 dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dots. Okay, so 1/2 of my set here would be, split your set into 2 groups. This is 1/2. 4/8, so 1/2 is equal to 4 dots in that situation. If I have the same set of 8 dots and I split it into 8 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 of them, this would be 4 out of 8, and that's still 4 dots. So that's the way that you show equivalent fractions using a Cuisenaire rod, a line model, area model using pattern blocks, or a set model, and you could use like manipulatives if you wanted to at this, but I just did dots on the paper. So I hope this helps prepare for your test for exam number 2.